There are moments in history that don't just shake borders, they shake souls. This is one of those moments. When the dust settles and the headlines fade, what remains is the courage of a nation standing tall against the tide of pressure, propaganda, and power. Iran is not just defending land, it's defending legacy. It's not just about missiles or military. It's about a people rising with voice, pride, and purpose. In a world that tries to rewrite your story, sometimes you've got to grab the pen back. And that's exactly what's happening right now. If you've ever felt like the underdog, if you've ever been underestimated, if you've ever wanted to rise with dignity when everything around you said, bow down, then don't move. Because what you're about to hear isn't just a speech. It's a reminder that the soul of a nation can still roar. Stay with us till the end, because this isn't just Iran's stand. It's a message to the entire world. Iran's sovereignty has been under relentless siege for decades, both politically and economically. From the moment it chose to stand independent of Western influence after the 1979 Islamic Revolution, the global powers, particularly the United States and its allies, began a campaign of containment, sanctions, and strategic isolation. This was not just about nuclear programs or military policies. It was about control. Iran's desire to chart its own course in a world dominated by Western narratives and interests has always made it a target. Its refusal to bow, to conform, or to surrender its identity has put it at odds with a world order that demands obedience more than justice. The pressure has come in waves. Economic sanctions have crippled industries, blocked trade, and made even basic humanitarian aid a challenge. Iran's banking system has been cut off from the global financial network. Oil exports, its economic lifeblood, have been throttled through embargoes and shipping restrictions. These are not minor inconveniences. They are acts of war in economic clothing. And yet, Iran has endured. Each sanction was meant to bend it to the will of those who seek dominance, but instead, it became another test of resilience. With every new wave of pressure, Iran found new ways to survive, adapt, and even thrive within its constraints. Militarily, Iran has faced a constant threat. From U.S. bases surrounding its borders to Israeli covert operations within its territory, the pressure to provoke Iran into war has been ever present. Assassinations of key scientists, cyber attacks on infrastructure, and proxy conflicts in the region are all tactics used to weaken Iran without direct confrontation. Yet, time and time again, Iran has demonstrated not weakness, but calculated resistance. It has shown the world that sovereignty doesn't mean reckless reaction. It means knowing when to act and when to wait, always from a position of principle and preparation. The international media plays its role too. Western outlets have often portrayed Iran as an aggressor, a rogue state, while ignoring the provocations that surround it. The narrative is designed to justify pressure, to make the world believe that Iran brought this on itself. But the people who look deeper see the truth. Iran is not on the offensive. It is defending its right to be itself, to govern itself, and to speak for itself. Its final stand is not about dominance over others, but freedom from domination. This struggle for sovereignty is more than political. It is cultural, spiritual, and deeply personal to the Iranian identity. Every attempt to undermine it is seen as an attack not just on the government, but on a people's soul. The resistance that rises in response is not fueled by hate, but by a longing to be free on their own terms. Iran, in a world where narratives shape perception and perception drives policy, Iran has understood that its most powerful weapon isn't just its missiles or military, it's its voice. While global media giants often paint Iran as a villain, Tehran has invested in crafting and broadcasting its own story to the world. This is a story rooted in dignity, sovereignty, and resistance, and it's a story Iran refuses to let others tell for them. Through state-run news outlets, regional partnerships, and digital platforms, Iran uses media as a tool of soft power, not to dominate, but to clarify, to counter, and to speak for itself. Iran's messaging strategy is grounded in the principle that the war it's fighting is not only physical, but psychological. It has recognized that every drone strike, every sanction, every political isolation effort is accompanied by a barrage of media spin aimed at dehumanizing its people and delegitimizing its government. In response, Iran has built a media infrastructure designed to amplify its perspective to both domestic and international audiences. This includes channels like Press TV, cultural diplomacy through documentaries, speeches from leaders that resonate with oppressed people globally, and a growing presence on social media despite censorship and suppression by tech platforms. But Iran's voice isn't just institutional, it's moral. It often frames its stance on global issues not through the lens of politics alone, but through values, justice, sovereignty, and resistance against oppression. When Iran speaks about Palestine, about U.S. imperialism, or about global double standards, it does so from a place that challenges the moral credibility of its adversaries. This isn't just posturing. It's a calculated move to align itself with global voices of the oppressed, whether in Africa, Latin America, or Asia. That message resonates with many who feel sidelined or manipulated by the dominant Western narrative. Inside the country, this voice takes the form of unity and cultural preservation. Iran uses media to remind its citizens of their shared heritage, Islamic principles, and revolutionary ideals. In the face of economic hardship and international pressure, this internal messaging serves as a unifying force, reinforcing the belief that they are not alone in the fight, that their endurance has purpose. Iran's cultural productions, from cinema to music to literature, subtly reinforce this message of resilience without being overtly propagandistic. Even when Iran is misrepresented or muted by global outlets, it finds ways to be heard. In an age where smartphones can capture truth in real time, Iran encourages its people and supporters to become messengers themselves. Protesters in the West, influencers across the Muslim world, independent journalists, they all contribute to amplifying Iran's voice beyond borders. And that's the key. Iran understands that if it doesn't speak up, someone else will speak for it. And when that happens, the truth becomes a casualty. Iran's voice is not just about words. It's about presence. In speeches, responses, diplomacy, and media resistance, it is sending a message. We are still here, we are still standing, and we will not be silenced. Sanctions were never just about weakening Iran's economy. They were designed to break the spirit of its people. Decade after decade, the West has imposed sweeping economic restrictions, freezing assets, blocking trade, cutting off banking systems, and targeting vital sectors like oil, medicine, and technology. The expectation was simple: bring Iran to its knees, force its leadership into submission, and pressure the population into uprising. But what emerged instead was a nation that chose a different path, a path of self-reliance, innovation, and internal strength forged in adversity. Iran's response to these sanctions was not one of desperation, but transformation. Cut off from global financial systems like SWIFT, Iran developed alternative banking networks and turned inward to support local industries. Where imports once flooded the markets, Iran began producing its own goods, investing in domestic manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, agriculture, and even automotive sector. It wasn't always easy. Shortages, inflation, and hardship hit the people hard. But over time, a new form of economic resilience took root. People learned to adapt, to innovate, and to survive with less dependency on the West. In technology and defense, this struggle sparked some of Iran's greatest leaps. Under immense pressure, Iran didn't fold. It built. It constructed its own drones, missiles, cyber warfare systems, and satellites. Where others saw isolation, Iran saw an opportunity to rely on its own scientists, engineers, and universities. That self-reliance didn't just protect national security, it became a symbol of pride. It sent a message to the world that sovereignty was not for sale, and neither was dignity. Sanctions also exposed the double standards of the international system. While some nations were rewarded for compliance, Iran was punished for resistance. Yet instead of begging for relief, Iran turned toward new alliances. It expanded trade with China, Russia, Venezuela, and even neighboring countries who saw its determination as strength rather than threat. Barter deals, currency swaps, and regional economic pacts allowed Iran to bypass many restrictions and build parallel systems outside Western control. Perhaps most powerful, though, was the cultural impact. The Iranian people, already familiar with struggle from decades of war and revolution, began to see endurance as part of their national identity. Economic hardship became a test of patience and purpose. It deepened their connection to the land, to their values, and to each other. The sanctions, meant to divide and disillusion, instead fostered unity and defiance. The message became clear: we will eat less, but we will not bow down. The West failed to realize one thing. When you pressure a people who have been through fire before, they don't crumble. They forge something unshakable. Iran's economy, while strained, did not collapse. Its spirit, while challenged, did not break. In fact,